What is going on, guys? Matt Mulligan here with episode number 6 of the Take a Mulligan podcast. A little bit of a sinus infection thing going on this week. I promise this is not the coronavirus, so I do sound a little bit nasally. But in today's episode, I have Jordan Chabot, owner of the Speedwell Tavern here in Plymouth, a stone's throw away from our office right here. And honestly, one of our favorite lunch dinner spots. They have amazing wings, chicken, beer selection. The atmosphere is amazing. And Jordan, the owner, is amazing as well. He has been in the food industry and craft beer industry for a super long time. And now he has started this restaurant here in Plymouth called the Speedwell Tavern. Again, one of the best here in town. And I think you guys will love Jordan. So here we go. Episode number 6 coming at you. Today, I have Jordan Chabot. Said it right? I said it right.
Nailed it.
I nailed it. Owner of Speedwell Tavern, right down the street from us.
That is me.
And you literally ran here with Ryan to make it.
I don't like being late. It's an embarrassing thing. I was watching a Hawk Visuals video. I was balls deep in that thing and realized I had an appointment. Tuesday's my busy day. Just kind of lost track of time. What can I say?
No, I appreciate the effort to come here.
It was quite the effort.
I think Ryan's still huffing and puffing in the corner over there.
As am I.
If you have to pause, we'll pause for a bit.
Yeah. Hope you're not picking it up on the mic there. My heart breaking in half as we speak. What's that thud in the background? I can't get rid of that noise. Yeah. Oh, it's Jordan's heart about to explode.
He's going to have a heart attack. So this might be a short podcast. So Jordan, we were talking before the podcast, and I've known you for a while now too. When I kind of know your story a little bit, but so from you getting to the point now where you're the owner of Speedwell Tavern,
yep.
You've worked in restaurants for a long time, right?
Correct.
Where did you first start off, and how did you make your way through to get to Speedwell?
All right, it's a long one. I've been in it a while.
That's what she said. We're here.
Getting that Wayback Machine. We're going back to the year 2000.
Ooh,
flying cars, Martians. The new millennium, Y2K. So I got my first job with a work permit at 15 years old at a place in Swansea called the Venus de Milo Restaurant. Giant banquet restaurant, old school facility. You think classic restaurant in the 80s, the chicken cordon bleu, the stuffed chicken, stuffed lobster, lobster Newburg, all that stuff. That's this place. Quintessentially, you could do a reality show there. It's awesome. But it's huge. It seats like 3,000. And they probably employed 50% of Fall River, Swansea. And so that's how.
Really, yeah?
No, that's hyperbole. But
still it was a big place.
Yeah, it was a big place. And it wasn't for the faint of heart. It was one of those places you had to wear a tuxedo every day. And a 15-year-old kid who listened to Marilyn Manson and dyed his hair black, putting on a tuxedo and cleaning it up to make a buck. It was a tough adjustment at first, but he did it. I worked in, so they had the banquet side and then they had the dining room side. And I was on the dining room side. I knew someone that had already worked there. She got me the job, my friend Lisa, and just kind of hit the ground running. We worked 4 days a week, no ifs, ands, or buts. And one of those days was every Saturday. So I was in high school as a sophomore, working there my 4 days a week. Saturdays were pretty much a double. And it taught me real quick, like restaurant industry. It was my first experience of any kind of job, but it was, you do this or you don't have a job.
Oh yeah.
So it was strict.
Totally.
But the cool part was it was like 300 employees. So you've made so many friends. And like, I went from being in high school and I had my close circle of friends, and we did our nerdy stuff, played video games and listened to Marilyn Manson, like I said. But then all of a sudden I had this like network of like 30 or 40 kids that I knew in school because we all worked together, and it was an awesome experience. And I ended up working my way up from like busboy. I went to waiter pretty fast. And then I ended up a bartender before I was even 18, which they might get in trouble for. So wink, wink. But they would they'd throw me on mostly like prom. So I was making Shirley Temples and Roy Rogers.
Yeah, nothing crazy. Yeah.
Right. But there were a couple. I do some Lions Club and Rotary parties. I would do some Mercy meals, which is like an after funeral, brunch or something like that. So I was pouring a lot of mimosas and stuff.
Gotcha.
And it just, I don't know, man. I kept thinking because it was such an intense job. And there was no wiggle room, and it was so busy and physically taxing, like wearing a tuxedo in a 120 degree kitchen and lugging, 12 to 15 pounds of lobster on your shoulder. And the soup terrains, they were famous for their minestrone soup. They still are. And you'd have these big, like 2-gallon soup turreens, 4 of them, and you had to carry piping hot. You could feel it turn the side of your face red. And I was just like, oh, this is just what work is. You know, it was my first job. This is what I expect now. And this is just how it's going to be. So you got to work hard or you're out. And I didn't want to stand and work retail and bag groceries. I fell in love with the speed and the intensity and hated it while I was there. But I think as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate it. It was kind of like the military for culinary professionals.
Well, it makes total sense. You're kind of like, you're in it.
Right.
And you're in the shit show basically.
Yeah.
And now like looking back, you like to do that. Which
Absolutely.
Makes total sense.
And I just love their mentality because there was a lot of managers. And that's another thing I appreciate going back, but they didn't have a choice but to let the bus kids and the waiters figure it out. Like it wasn't so micromanaged. It was like, no, go make 500 resets and they got to be done in an hour, or, you know, get these 50 gallons of soup down to takeout to it. And it just has to get done. And you don't sit there like, I don't know how to do that. No, you get it done.
You have to get it done.
You got to get it done. And I think it flipped a switch for me. And a lot of my really close friends to this day all work there. We're all very like-minded. A couple of them work with me at Speedwell now. So
really, yeah, going that far back.
Yeah, one of them is my brother, so that's kind of cheating.
Oh, that's cheating. Yeah.
He's kind of come with me everywhere. But,
yeah.
So that was it, and then graduated high school, still worked there. Like I said, ended up being close to 10 years, and really got into the craft beer scene when I was in college. Because when you go to college, you drink beers.
That's what you do. Yeah.
I went to community college for fine arts. I've always had sort of an art background, but never formal training or anything like that. I've never had formal training, I don't think, in anything except driving. But and even then it's questionable.
Even that's questionable, yeah.
But my whole theory was I need to get out of the restaurant industry. I can't work this hard for the rest of my life. So I'm going to go to school to be an art teacher. And I always enjoyed training people at the Venus when young people would come up. And I was always a captain or a manager. So I was like, I'll be a good leader. I love art. I'll be an art teacher. I won't have to sell my art. I'll make money, teaching art.
Yeah, teaching it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And, then, 9/11 happens, 2001. That was right before I graduated high school, and I still held on to it, but the economy just went boom. First layoffs in all the schools, music and art.
Yeah.
So I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm stuck in the restaurant. I got this. I got an associate's in fine arts. I didn't stay for the whole shebang because I kind of pulled out in time, but I decided, I got to take another direction. This isn't going to do it. I mean, I might be happy, but I'm going to be broke and living with my aunt and uncle for the rest of my life.
Seriously, yeah, seriously.
So the restaurants kept me in, got into craft beer. I got a job at a package store because I'm like, if I'm not going to be in school, I was working at the Venus 50 hours a week. I was in school 40, and I had to stay at that speed. Once I dropped the school hours and had all this extra time, I'm like, I got to pick up another side job. So I get a job at a package store down the street. Cardo's Wine and Spirits are no longer there. They've sold, but really fell in love with the whole craft beer scene. We got to take home a bottle every night as sort of like a reward for your shift, like a shift drink.
Sweet.
So sick. And this is right when it all kind of started. Sam Adams was starting to blossom. I was a huge Boston Lager guy.
It's my favorite beer still.
So there you go. And it's one of mine too. And it's underappreciated and it's a shame. And I admittedly don't have it on tap at Speedwell because it just won't move.
Yeah.
And then I had my first Harpoon IPA. That's where this tattoo comes from.
Okay.
You mentioned as I walked in.
There you go.
Got that from a hitchhiker. If you want to hear that story.
I do. Wait, let's divulge. Yeah, tell me about that. How did that? We'll get back to this in a minute. But
well, it kind of plays in because all this kind of was a result of my love for craft beer, and I wouldn't have been so enthusiastic about it had not been for a lone bottle of Harpoon IPA from a hitchhiker who I'm friends with now. But all right, so same period of time, I'm in my weed smoking phase.
And this is how old are you at this point? Oh, yeah.
I am.
Because you're
not 21 yet.
You're out of college at this point.
I'm out of college, but I'm not 21 yet. So I was probably early 20s or late 19.
Okay.
And because I couldn't buy booze, just smoke weed. That's what we did. We'd drive around, we'd go on blunt rides and drive around Fall River. There's nothing else better to do, right? Yeah. So a few of my buddies and I think I was the only one with the license at the time. Must have been because I was driving. And we're on a blunt ride and just driving around looking for something to do. And we drive down 24 north towards North Fall River, and we see a hitchhiker. He's got his thumb out. And we drive right by him. It was dark out. It came up quick, whatever. I'm like, let's go back around and pick him up. Like there's three of us in the car. I'm like, what's he gonna do? It's not like he's if he's a weirdo, we always have like a camera or something on us. So like, we'll film it. It'll be funny. And I always had this great. We always had a high-8 video camera with us, and I have 13 tapes that were given to me as a wedding gift from that collection. I can go off.
Oh my
like
God!
crazy.
Wow.
But so we drive back around and we pick up this hitchhiker, and it turns out to be a familiar face. It's a kid about a little older than me, named Chris, and he went to another high school, but we had sort of mutual friends. So it wasn't as weird as I was hoping it would be. We were really looking for
that's a weird statement
right.
to say.
But we're 19, we're already looking for content. You know what I mean? Yeah. But so we pick him up and he's super appreciative, but he's a weird guy. He's very artsy and just like, dude, like, thank you. Can you just drop me off at Bishop Conley? Bishop Conley is like the Catholic school. That's where he went. So like,
did you pick up Keanu Reeves? It sounds like Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I was more going for a spacey thing.
Okay.
Whoa. Vio con Dios, bro. But he's kind of like that. He's actually a circus performer now. But anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I can. Like I said, I should write a book. But we bring him back, and he's like, "Dude, I don't have any money on me. I would love to like pay you for this." He's like, "But I can give you one of these," and he gives me a beer. And I'm like, I see this beer, and it's Harpoon IPA, and I'm like, India Pale Ale. Like, you just gave me a beer from India. Holy shit, that's badass. So I like cherish this bottle of Harpoon, 12-ounce ordinary bottle of Harpoon IPA, but it had that really ornate logo and did look like it came straight from India, all the floral design on it and stuff. They've changed their designs and stuff pretty much a lot since then. But so I come back home and I'm living with my aunt and uncle at the time. We had our own like space in the basement, my brother and I hide the bottle in the corner. And I'm like, I'm gonna drink this one day. Like, it's so cool, but I'm gonna save it because it's like from India. You know, I really legit thought this thing was from India. A couple weeks later, my aunt and uncle go on vacation. They leave the house to me and Rye and a couple of my cousins who live upstairs. And I put it in the fridge and I crack it open. And it's probably old and burnt as shit because it was near my radiator on the side of the bed. But I thought it was one of the most amazing things I ever tasted in my life. I was like, this tastes like flowers. This is unbelievable. It's bitter, but it's good. And I just like, a couple months later realized it was brewed in Boston, and I'm a big idiot.
You're not in India.
Right. And this is, like I said, before I got the job at Cardoz's and all that, so I had no idea there was anything but Bud and Bud Light, you know, and Natty Lights, because that's what my meme drank. But but yeah, and after that, when I got into it later, I thought back and I'm like, wow, my love for craft beer really came from that one bottle that I got from my hitchhiker friend Chris, aka Chip. He's probably going to watch this and be like, oh, wow, he remembers that. But he's friends with me on Facebook now. He just did the balloon animals for my niece's second birthday party. So,
oh, sweet.
Yeah, it's just weird, man.
That's so random, though. But that one moment for you think catapulted your interest in craft beer? I think you can like really think about, really. I don't think I went hunting for craft beer after that. But when I got the job at Cardoz's, it was a familiarity and like a sentiment there now. Because I had that memory of that beer and I was just like, it was just more open to me. And I was like, I need to know more. Like, that experience was so cool. Having that one solid, and now I think about it, I'm like pushing beer by the gallon, but the appreciation for that one stupid 12-ounce bottle was so cool. And I'll always think of that. I'll always have that fond sort of memory of that. My first IPA, and that's what prompted me to go to a tattoo party and put that on. That's so cool. That's why I'm like, I didn't know what that tattoo was, honestly, but now it does make a lot of sense. That's the logo. You could tell it was done at a tattoo party. There's some stuff. I mean, the thing's over 10 years old, but I'll have my boy Kyle Powers at Brassland and touch it up for me one day. It's the best. Love Kyle. Yep. Good guy. He did the, we're getting way off topic anyways, but the scallop shell. He did that, right? You guys both did it, right? Yeah, I would like to say I helped, but I probably put in about maybe 3 or 4 hours of work. He probably put in about 40 to 50 hours of work on it. It was supposed to be both of us, but I'm a flake. I hate to say the word busy because he's busy too. But admittedly, to my credit, there were 3 separate times, and he can vouch for me, that I set up, because we had to paint it outside. I set up, and immediately after I got paint on my palette, rainstorms. It happened 3 times last summer. So at that point, like, all right, it's clearly someone doesn't want me to paint this thing. Right, exactly. And Kyle's just, I mean, no one's as talented as Kyle. I'm sorry. It was in better hands with him. So I like to say we funded it, and I did kind of do some, like, we thought it out together, we mapped it out together, but Kyle, that's all Kyle. That is it. The whole idea is it the Speedwell with the pirate kind of thing. You got it. So that's William Bradford's skeleton. That's right. Yep. Yeah, and the idea was the ghost ship. We had a few ideas. We had a few that were rejected by historical, and
I guess I can kind of see why, but whatever. We had one where there was a turkey getting abducted by an alien. And this was going on when like the Area 51 raid was like,
Yeah,
the Blink 182 guy
yeah.
and all that. So we thought it'd be hip, and people like that stuff. We thought it'd be kind of cute, like modernizing the whole, instead of beating everybody over the head with the history of Plymouth. You know what I mean? Which is beautiful, but there were 30 shells that were doing that. We were like, we want to do something a little bit more hip that appeals to, I guess, our age group, or a little younger than me, I guess.
Yeah.
But they were like, nah, you can't do aliens, bro. You could do a big giant skeleton.
Yeah, right. But you can't do
the zombie
aliens.
of William Bradford, but we don't want to see turkeys getting abducted by aliens.
Oh my God, it came out badass though.
I know.
It's so nice.
Thank you. He's unbelievable. I love that guy.
He's super talented.
Yep.
He's super talented.
It's great to see him flourish too. And I know he hit a setback. He had an injury that's kind of held him back a little bit, but the dude he's all by himself. He has no help from anybody, true sole proprietor, and he just grinds, and he's growing so quick.
Yeah, it's super talented.
Yep.
Super talented.
Love you, Kyle.
Love you, Kyle. So to get back into your track, so here you are, maybe 20, working at the craft beer place.
Yeah, it was more of like
store.
a big jumbo wine store that had like this tiny craft beer mix of six area. I don't even think it was a mix of six. Sort of like Tatum's format, but not even 3% as cool. It was very early on. It was Pete's Wicked Ale. It was Shipyard. Shipyard might not even have been around yet. No, it was Long Trail, Otter Creek, Pete's Wicked Ale. Sam Adams had like half a door, Harpoon. And I think the coolest thing I had seen, from furthest away, was like Oscar Blues Dale's Pale Ale, which I thought was like a ghetto beer when I saw it, because it was the first time I saw craft beer in a can. And I saw these cans and I'm like, oh, that's supposed to go near the Natty Light. And my boss kept moving it back over. So it's just, that's how oblivious I was. I think about it now, like what an idiot. But, and then it just grew. And as I got more enthusiastic, they started trusting me, like ordering stuff. So I learned all those beers, started learning flavor points, going on websites like Beer Advocate was unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
And it still is. I know the format's changed quite a bit, and beer culture in general has changed so much. It's more about, it's like a Pokemon culture now. It's not like enjoy and be loyal. It's got to catch them all. What's the new thing I got?
Yeah.
But which is fine. It's causing growth, and growth is good. But the nostalgic old school beer people like myself kind of miss those days where it was, bigger breweries, but you knew what you were getting, and that was fun too. So that's kind of where I came up and got an enthusiasm for that, and then realized I can bartend and I know craft beer. And now as the craft beer boom's growing, all these craft beer bars are opening. And the first one closest to me was the Pour Farm in New Bedford. And right after that, and this place was awesome, dark, dank, 24, maybe more draft lines. They didn't have food at the time, I don't think. I think it was just beer. They ended up adding like barbecue and stuff, but I just like, this is amazing. Now I was 21, I could sit at a bar and drink good beer. And it was unheard of. You go Pub 99 and Boston Lager was all you could get.
Yeah. So
fall in love with that. And then I hear about this Rose Alley place opening. And it's mostly because of social media and Facebook. And this guy just keeps posting, opening soon, looking for bartenders. And I'm like, and sort of a small world thing. The guy who owns the liquor store I'm working at buys the building on the side of Rose Alley Ale House and turns it into a restaurant called Cork. And he starts getting into the craft beer thing. So they're open. Rose Alley's been open for about 2 months. And the owner of the liquor store asks me, hey, we're doing this is going to sound like an oxymoron. We're doing a Michelob beer dinner at Cork. We want you to represent Cork and sort of get hype and try to sell tickets. We got to sell 50 tickets. And there's a part of me inside that's like, this is blasphemy. Michelob is a craft beer.
Michelob is not craft beer.
They got this tangerine beer, a cactus aloe beer. They got this whole line of like fruit beers they're putting out because they're trying to keep up with the Blue Moon, which is starting to blow up. And so I'm like, I got to do it. I mean, it's a great opportunity. So I go there and I pout the whole time like a little whiny bitch. And I do the whole thing. I sell the tickets, whatever. And I'm sitting at this table and I'm sitting on the side of somebody that I work with at the store, but then I'm across from this other guy. And he's just like, can tell I'm upset. And I'm just like, no, this isn't craft beer. This is bullshit. I was starting to brew. I was like, I just brewed a beer making carrots, like from scratch. Like that's a legit beer. And, complaining. So this guy's like, oh, hey, you into craft beer? Da, 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 da. And kind of almost like an on-the-spot interview. I had no idea who he is. And I'm like, yeah, and this isn't craft beer. And little come to find out, he's one of the owners of Rose Alley. And they're trying to they had been open for 2 months. They hired a bunch of beautiful, smart, hardworking waitresses and bartenders, but none of them knew about beer. And they got Pour From up the street who's legit, and they're trying to legitimize themselves as a craft beer bar. And they got beer nerds like myself coming and going, you don't know shit. Yeah. So a couple weeks later, I'm on Facebook and I'm seeing this, looking for a early 20s young male enthusiast. This is back when you can do that kind of stuff. Enthusiastic bartender that knows about craft beer. I'm like, dude, this is like, I think they're poaching me right now.
Yeah,
this is, you know what I mean?
Made for me, I feel like.
Not to be like this, but after that conversation with, and knowing, and his name's Jay, knowing Jay now, that is totally something he would do, is sort of passively poach somebody from a next door neighbor. It's not a bad thing. He's just got the killer instinct, you know? And so I just said, shot in the dark. I was getting tired. Venus was kind of wearing on me a little bit. I wanted to change the scenery and try something new and make more money. You know, I appreciated the bartending experience at the Venus, but, you know, pouring Shirley Temples and Roy Rogers during the day or doing senior parties, you walk home with $50 in your pocket. Meanwhile, I'm hearing about bartenders leaving with like $400 in their pocket. Yeah. So I apply. He goes, you start tomorrow. That's 10 minutes later, I get a response from his business partner, Howie. Okay, come in tomorrow. Steph's training you. And that was it. Started in May of 2009, 2 months after they opened. They opened up in March and just got really into it. They gave me the shittiest bar shift, Tuesday nights. Started with that. Started bringing people in from Cardoza's. People coming from court, coming to see me. I was getting some regulars. And about 2 months later, they gave me another shift and then another shift. And then all of a sudden I had 5 shifts. And I was like, whoa. So I'm doing 5 shifts there. I'm doing Saturdays and Sundays over at the Venus. I'm still at Cardoza's.
Oh, God.
3 days a week. And I'm considering going back to culinary school, like just embracing this restaurant thing. It was nuts, but the money was good. So as the money started coming, I started dropping shifts out of the other 2 places and kind of weed myself out of, I want to say I left Cardoza's first as I got more shifts. And then they offered me a management position as the owner tried to step away. And I took that, and then I left the Venus. It took me a while. I kept like 1 shift for about 2 years for no reason. It was a day like today. It's like 70 degrees out, beautiful. And it's a Saturday, and I'm exhausted. And I'm walking into work at 3 o'clock. I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't need to be at the Venus anymore.
Why you just held on to it? Because
sentiment.
Is that really what it was? Loyalty?
Loyalty. Yeah. I felt like I didn't want to, like I said, the people those 300 people that worked there, and turnover over those 9 years, of course, but the dining room was tight, and the 20 odd or so people, waitresses and busboys and the chefs that all worked in there were tight. And we have our differences, and I was definitely one of the more abrasive people when it got super busy because I felt like people weren't doing enough. I'm a loudmouth. But I loved them, and I didn't want to leave that. And I felt like I would lose touch with everybody if I left. So I held on to that 1 shift doing the Saturday dining room bar for probably 2 years too long, and wasn't making as much money as I should. That was the one that kind of got shafted because you had to get tipped out by the waitresses, not by customers directly. Yeah, right. So there was kind of a little weirdness there, but finally, there was that one nice day. It was gorgeous out. All my buddies were going to the beach. I'm putting on a tuxedo, a penguin outfit, walking in, sun's in my eyes. I'm like, I just got out of Cardoza's. I leave Cardoza's at 1 and then go straight there. And I walked into the office. You'd have to check in with the owner. And I looked at the owner and I'm like, Ronnie, I really appreciate everything you've done, but this is going to be 2 weeks for me. And he's like, no, it's not. I'm like, I have to. I go, this is it for me. And he's like, good luck, and you're always welcome back. And that was it. It was huge. It was weird.
How'd you feel going? So when you came into the office, did you know you were going to do it at that point?
So there was a long building, probably about as long as I just ran to get here.
So that whole way you're like contemplating whether or not you're going to do it?
Yeah.
What was going through your head when you were going to do it?
I'll be honest with you. Between 1 and 3 o'clock, I had slammed a couple beers because it was beautiful outside. I sat on my back deck and it kind of gave me some beer balls. And I think I was a little bit more, impulsive. And I didn't regret the decision, but I think it helped me kind of take the edge off and just kind of go in and just do it. And I did it. And when he said, no, you're not, I'm like, all right, you're going to cave. You're going to be here for the rest of your life. Yeah. And I stuck to my guns. Thanks for those beers. I say a couple of beers, probably a few more than that. But I stuck to my guns and went back to the dining room, started setting up my bar, and I got like a little emotional. I'm like, fuck, this is one of last 2 times I'll be doing this. And I think I ended up saying 3 weeks, but that was what was in my head. I only had, this is my second to last shift, and I didn't tell anybody. And I had my shift drink afterwards. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and I would help the maitre d' count all the waitresses' drops and stuff. And I got a little loose, and I told him, and I was like, yeah, I put in my 2 weeks with Ronnie today. And he's like, no, you didn't. He's like, what am I going to do? I need a bartender. I go, dude, I love you, but it's not about you anymore, man.
Yeah.
I got to go.
Yeah.
I got to go. I'm a peacock.
Yeah.
You got to let me fly.
That's awesome. And was that one of the first times you've had to do that at a job?
I have never got fired. I had never quit anything.
So that was the very first time. Yeah. It's the first time having to talk to your boss.
Yeah.
About, I am quitting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I had left Cardoz's before that.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
But Cardoz's wasn't the same. Like, I had great friends there, but I was only there for like 2.5, 3 years. Built a lot of relationships. It definitely was the gateway to get me to Rose Alley, but it wasn't the same. It wasn't that at that point when I was leaving the Venus, I was half my life. I was 21 years old and I'd been there for almost 10 years. That was half my life. It's crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
So it was completely conditioned, and well, maybe not half. So when did I leave? I was 25 when I left. Yeah, so there you go, from 15 to 25, so about a third of my life. But still, math aside, it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy. So, and I told you right before we recorded, the crazy thing about that place is it changed so much over the years. So it's been about 10 years since I left, and the dining room portion just closed. Yesterday, closed its doors, served its last meal. Nuts. Wow. And I'm seeing pictures online of like all the waitresses I worked with posting pictures of all of us and group pictures and stuff. I'm like, holy shit. Wow. It's a lifetime ago. And that place, like, just a victim of the change of the times. No one wants these giant, extravagant dinners served to you by people in tuxedos. I know. That's Rat Pack stuff. No one's into that anymore. It's a couple restaurants in town like that over here in Plymouth, and I wonder, how they're doing, because that kind of stuff doesn't appeal anymore.
No, it's mostly, it's stuff like Speedwell. Those, they have great, turn and burn, great food, craft beer that comes across all the time. And
right.
People love that stuff.
You got to adapt.
You have to adapt.
And it sucks. And I'm like, I think of it and I'm like, thank God I didn't stay. Because there was a lot of people that was still there when they closed that I worked with. But I look back, I'm like, damn, like I would have been. It's so easy to get trapped there. And most of the people that ran that place started there when they were 15. That's the crazy thing. So I'm like, I love those people. I have nothing but respect for them, but I'm like, so glad I didn't get sucked into that. 'Cause it's so easy. You're making good money and you got security and you have this comfort level. But I got out right at the last second. I always think back to that moment when Ronnie said, no, you're not. And I said, it could have went either way. Like that could have changed my life. And I said, no, I'm done.
Well, it's crazy to think about. Yeah, you could have either still been there, or it would have, it closed, but you could have done that, or now you're on this path. But it's like all about in that one moment. Like, what can you do right now?
Yep.
Do you suck it up, have the balls, and do it, or do you just continue doing what you're doing?
Thank you, beer.
Thank you. Was it Harpoon or what type of beer?
I wish I could remember. Something I grabbed a 6-pack of something from Cardoz's after my shift, and I probably slayed the whole thing. Not gonna lie. It was just gorgeous out that day, and my aunt and uncle have this back deck, and I just kind of sat on the deck. No one was home, and this is before cell phones. I wasn't just noodling. I was just sitting there zoning out, like enjoying the weather and thinking, I really wish I didn't have to fucking work today. Yeah. And I know it was like 1:30. I'm like, I know in like a half hour to stop putting my penguin suit on it. And I really don't want to. Yeah. And that just triggered. It's amazing how one 12-ounce beer bottle from, when I was 19 and one quick impulse decision because of a nice day of weather has just completely shifted my gears.
Isn't that crazy? Like some people have these profound moments of across weeks or months or years.
Right.
You're kind of like, I know it kind of builds up, but these two moments that seem like they're very minute, like who gives a shit moments, but those have made a huge impact on you.
It's huge. I think about it often too. This isn't like a Hail Mary thing. I got a tattoo of one of them, and serendipity, the place closing yesterday, but I talk about the Venus often. Anytime I'm training somebody, I tell them like, listen, I went to the military of restaurants. I'm not shitting you. And this is how it's done, and that really gave me a structure to sort of do what I'm doing now and build what we've built. My teammates and I have built at Speedwell, which is badass right now.
Of course. Yeah. So let's talk about Speedwell. So how did you get from that to now building Speedwell?
All right. So I'm at Rose Alley for about a year. I had weaseled my way. I don't want to say weasel. I worked my way. I didn't weasel. I worked my way into the management position there. Worked hard. And a lot of that work ethic I got at the Venus, that never say no. I can't ask anyone to do anything I'm not going to do. I carried that attitude over, and I think it resonated with the owners there, and they saw that. And I treated the place as if I owned it, so much so that they started stepping away and letting me do everything. And I say letting me, making me do everything too. But I look at it the way I look at the Venus, I wouldn't have learned what I know now had I not had that pressure of having to figure it out. And so I work my way up there, and they keep paying me more, and I get a little bit more freedom from the bar. I'm more making money on a paycheck instead of through tips, because there's so much I got to do that if I'm going to manage this place, I can't be paid by people's tips. You guys got to stop paying me. And they did. It started small as like a sort of half tip, half salary thing, and it worked up to a really good living for a guy who was 25 and doing what he loves. But it was intense, and the place was busy every single day. The building had its kinks. It was an old fisherman's bar right across the street from all the old scallop boats, all the fisherman boats. And the culture down there before all these bars opened up, much like Plymouth was 15 years ago, man, much worse, I think, with drug culture. But these scallop fishermen would be out for 2 weeks at a time, come home, cash their check at this bar before it was Rosali, and then use all that money on heroin. And that was what this bar was. It was called the Cultivator. And this building, they gutted the entire building. It's this big brick cube. They gut the entire building and they make it beautiful, but it still has its kinks. It's this old, ratty building, and I swear the ghosts of old fishermen were in there still. Because shit just went wrong. Anytime I tried leaving, something would break. So that starts wearing on me, and I'm like, maybe this isn't what I want to do. And I'm meeting all these craft beer reps. I buy all the beer for the place. I'm booking the bands. I'm starting to really form a good network of professionals. And I get approached by one of those distributors, and like, you would crush selling beer. Why are you washing dishes? Why are you mopping puke? Why are you doing all this? Why are you running here 24/7? You could be making the same amount of money and have benefits. We could pay for your gas. We'll give you a car. We'll do this. And they stopped poaching me. And I got hit like I was like, no way. Nope, I'm loyal. I'm just going to keep staying here. And there was one day where I got like a breaking point. My relationship had started to get a little tough with a couple of the owners. It wasn't know if it was so much a power struggle. I was young. I think I complained more than I would complain now about things. I approached things a little bit differently, and they were looking at me as a well-paid, spoiled brat, I think, too, which was wrong, but I think we were both wrong. Yeah. And it just, the relationship, besides my relationship, became really close friends with one of there were 5 owners. Really close friends with one of the owners. 2 of the owners were kind of absentee. They were involved, but not super involved. And then the other 2 were super involved and complete opposites, and didn't talk to each other and ordered me around. And it just got way too complicated, way too tense. And I started pulling my own hair out. And I said, I got to get out of here. So I sat down with one of these distributor guys, and they were going to create a position for me just for craft beer. Now these craft beer guys are everywhere. But at the time, that was unheard of. You sold Coors Light, Bud Light, Miller Lite, and maybe those guys would have to try to get you to buy craft beer they knew nothing about. They wanted to focus and have a craft beer guy.
Strictly on craft beer.
Yep. So we sit down at a restaurant up the street, and had to keep it on the DL because I don't want anybody knowing, and I want word gets around like this. People talk, and they hand me a contract, and I look it over, and I'm talking to my then girlfriend, now wife, and we going over. She's like, it's your decision. I'm not swaying you. And she was right to do that. This is huge. I'm looking at the money's good and everything's right. And it's just about what I'm making, but all those benefits. So I call my friend, the owner who I'm close with, John, and I say, hey, I got this contract, man. I think you knew this was coming, but can we sit down and talk? Because this isn't, I think I'm going to leave. And he's like, okay, we'll sit down. Ironically, we go to the same restaurant the day later, and he made it a priority. He sat down with me, and he's like, I'm not going to tell you no, leave. He's like, selfishly, I want you to stay. You make my life a lot easier. But you do understand that if you leave, potential for us, and we'd always kind of talked about doing our own thing, potential for us doing our own thing isn't gonna, but we're gonna be friends and stuff like that, but not working side by side, just natural attrition is gonna happen. And we're not, the chances of us doing our own thing, and they'd mentioned Plymouth 100 times through this process, it's probably not gonna happen. You're gonna move on. You're not gonna have time for that. And I'm like, I thought about it. I go home, and I write this big email to the ownership about how I was considering leaving. I didn't have the balls to say I was leaving, but at that point I was like, I'm going to leave, but I'm going to see if they'll beg me to stay.
Gauge the reaction.
Yeah, and I kind of want to see if they bump me even more with pay. And it wasn't more that I needed the money, because at the time I didn't really have any bills. I was 25. I was living in an apartment up the street, and I paid off my school loans, which was badass with all my bar tips. And I wrote the email, and I think they went back and forth. I think most of them were like, let him go. But I don't know for sure, but I think John might have vouched like, hey, it's going to be a lot less expensive to keep him than it is to take 5 or 6 months to train somebody and da-da-da-da. And I think he did that not so much because he believed that, but because he wanted to do Speedwell with me. And he'll say kind of both, but I don't know. That's kind of the way I look at it, because I don't think he deep down inside, he's a numbers guy. I think deep down inside he knew that paying me what I was asking for at that point wasn't practical.
Yeah.
So I stay. They email me. They say, what if we bump you this much more a week? It was like a 15 or 20% raise. It was pretty good. And they paid my cell phone bill, I want to say, or something like that, which is fine because that's all I used my phone for was work anyway. And I stick around, and they open up a pizza place next door. They buy a restaurant in South Dartmouth, and all of a sudden, this Plymouth idea, I'm like, these motherfuckers con me to stay. John dangles Speedwell in my... And at the time, it wasn't called Speedwell. In my head, it was. That was an idea I always had, and I can get into that, too. My romantic approach to things. But I'm like, these sons of bitches are lying. Like, they're not going to build a restaurant up there, and I'm not going there, and I'm not going to have an opportunity. I wasn't even thinking about buying in. I just wanted to do more. I wanted a second source of income. I knew I could run 2 places at once. It would have been intense, but I was used to working 90 hours a week.
And you loved it. I mean, you were used to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're building another Rose Alley. I already got everything I need right here. Just doing another cheat sheet. I got a cheat sheet right here. We could borrow employees. This is going to be easy. Open up a pizza place next door. Oh, all right. That pushes Speedwell back. Open up a sort of a dining on the water restaurant down in South Dartmouth. Beautiful spot. All right. The Speedwell's on the back burner again. And then things start changing, and people start buying people out. And I'm like, I'm screwed. Like, this isn't going to work out the way I want it to. And finally, like, one of the owners the one I had sat down with at Cork, that we had kind of a weird relationship, great drinking buddies. Professionally, we didn't see eye to eye. That was one of the reasons why I was tense. He sells his shares in the Speedwell building and the Speedwell business, because they had already kind of started doing construction. And Mello, John, I'll just go by John. That's what I'm close with, is like, shit, we need investors. How are we going to do this? Jay just cashed out. And he approaches me. He goes, hey, like, there's an opportunity to buy into Speedwell, like, right now. Do you want to do this? And you got to keep it on the DL. This is April of 2013. Yeah, it was April 2013. I remember it was like a day after my birthday. And he pulls me in the basement at Rose Alley, and he goes, yeah, there's an opportunity. I'm like, how much is it going to cost me? It's like, probably like 20 grand. I'm like, 20 grand? Oh, yeah, sure. Here you go.
Yeah, you take hundreds, or what do you?
Right. So I'm scared shitless, but I look at him, I go, let's do it. I'll figure it out. Like, let's go. And he's like, really, really? He's like, you got to keep it quiet, because if the guys find out that we're going behind their back and doing this, he's like, I don't care. I want to tell them. It's not like keeping it a secret, but I'm afraid what they're going to do to you. He's like, you need a source of income to fund this. So just keep doing your job, treat it. And he goes, I know you're going to work hard, but I'll keep you posted and stuff like that. So time goes on, and somehow word gets out. And they sense it, but no one's calling me on it. But the other owners are kind of acting different toward me. And finally I just go, I got to tell him, Mello. I go, because this is weird. You could just feel it in the building. And I think it was like a month later, I was like, guys, this is the deal. And I already gave Mello like $5 grand at that point towards my buy-in. This is like legit to buy lumber, and like, oh, hey, we need money to do a dump run. Like, here you go. Here's my credit card. And that's how I bought into the place. So the Rose Alley guys find out, and they go, okay, what's your exit? We got to form an exit strategy now. And you got 4 weeks. I'm like, 4 weeks and I'm done? Like, no job? Like, yeah, we need to what are we going to do? Why are we going to keep you around?
Exactly.
And they're right. So I'm like, okay, I'll do the right thing. Find a candidate that you want, and I will train them, and I'll do the right thing. And they weaned my hours down, and they cut my salary in half every week. So I had the full salary the first week, half of that, then half of that, and then half of that. And I'm trying to fund a restaurant. And I'm training this kid, and this kid, like, they choose this kid, Jake, who's a nice guy, but he ended up being kind of a hard on. And at least in that place's sense, I think he's a good kid. I just think his power got to his head real fast. But he breaks his foot skimboarding. So I'm trying to teach this kid how to lift kegs and organize the keg cooler, and he's sitting there with a cast on his foot. How the hell am I supposed to train this kid who can't walk? You know what I mean? It was so silly. But finally I embrace it, and I'm like, I talked about earlier how I made all these relationships. through the industry and connections, I start reaching out to people like, hey, I need a bar shift. I need a kitchen shift. I need something until Speedwell opens. It should be open by July. That was the plan. And boy, was I fucking wrong. But I think I end up working at 4 places. So I leave Rose Alley, I want to say in late May, early June of 2013. I'm driving up here every single day, doing dump runs, demo, painting, lugging out old shit that was in that building. We broke down a wall right in the middle of the place. It used to be 2 storefronts. We're doing all that. And then I'm bartending at night at 4 different places. And I picked up a kitchen shift at that Sail Loft place that they had opened. My buddy was running. I became friendly with the kid running it. And I was like, hey, can I work some kitchen shifts? And thank God I did. It gave me a lot of more kitchen experience because I didn't know I was going to be doing so much cooking when I opened up Speedwell. And that's kind of how it happened. I buckled down. I worked probably 50 to 60 hours a week doing random bartending gigs, just picking up shifts wherever I could. My friends were very kind to me. I worked at the Bitter End in Fairhaven, one of my favorite bars of all time. Still there. It's awesome. My friend Nils and my friend Andrea gave me a couple really good bartending shifts. Andrea was the bar manager there. She still is. And she kind of wanted to take a break. She's like, you can have my shifts for a couple months if you want. Perfect.
That's great timing, man.
Oh, she gave me Sunday days during football, and she saved me. And so I was bartending there, and then they owned another restaurant. The same couple, they're not a couple, the same partners in Mattapoisett, the Mattapoisett Inn. It used to be the Kinsale. They gave me bartending shifts there. That was kind of like the Venus. You had to dress nice.
Yeah, I think is the Mattapoisett Inn now?
Yeah. So there's the Mattapoisett Inn, and then there's the Inn at Shipyard Park. Is the name of the restaurant.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Beautiful spot. Yep. Oh, talk about an old, cool building. It reminds me kind of your studio here. It has the exposed brick and the cool lighting.
Yep.
Amazing food. So they gave me an opportunity there, and then I'm working kitchen shifts at the Sail Loft and bar backing shifts. It was nuts, and I'm bringing in some good money, and I'm not the boss anymore. I'm not in the books. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm just I'm on the books, but I'm just taking home tips.
Yeah.
And was able to raise, actually ended up being $28,000 in about 4.5 months with helps from some credit card swiping and to buy my way into Speedwell. Basically just went from unemployed to buckling down and just fucking forcing it. I'm like, I'm not letting this go now. I put all my fucking chips in this basket. This is happening. No pun intended. Basket of chips you can get at Speedwell. It's really good.
Oh my God. Shameless plug right there.
Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. I'm gonna take a sip.
No, it's cool. So at this point, you had was it your girlfriend or you married at this point?
So Yun and I met about 9 years ago. Yeah. So she's still my girlfriend, my loyal girlfriend. We're living together in New Bedford, and she's watching me go through all this turmoil. She's working with her dad, and then she picked up. I think she was working. Yeah, she was just working with her dad at that point. And she picked up a DSW job and stuff like that. And she's just kind of hanging in there with me. She was always just the most supportive, still is the most supportive person. I love her to death. And yeah, I wouldn't be here without her, 100%. Having that, going home every day to someone who reassures you and doesn't discourage you and doesn't have any ulterior motive. I've been in relationships before, I'm sure we all have, where the person you're with, they're in it for themselves and they got an angle. Yeah. Not Yun. Never. She always wanted what was best, and she's super laid back. So, but yeah, she's going through all this, and sure, she was a little nervous for a little while there. We weren't married yet, but we were serious, and we weren't even engaged yet. But I think the writing was on the wall. She kind of knew it was coming. She wait for me to shit or get off the pot. And I'll be honest with you, Speedwell probably postponed a lot of that stuff. Definitely postponed me buying a house, and I still haven't done that. Postponed me from proposing to her, and she stuck by me through the whole thing.
It's such a good thing to have that. Even now we're getting married in October, but it's thank you. But it's the same thing. I quit my job almost 2 years ago. 2 years ago in April.
It's crazy.
And it seems like it was yesterday I did this. But at that point, we were like, okay, we'll probably get married soon, buy a house, it'll be all good.
Right.
And I said, I'm quitting. So now it's like, okay, shit, now what do we do? So we moved into my parents' house for 3 months.
Yep.
My grandparents were living in Florida. They lived there half the year. They live there now, but they said just stay for free. Perfect. Worked out for me and both of us. But her commute was an hour and 40 minutes.
Wow.
To Boston. I was literally 15 minutes away. I used to work in the Pine Hills.
And she stuck with you?
She stuck with me, yeah. But it's that thing where I feel like for me, and maybe for you too, because of Nina sticking by me, it really fed the fire of like, okay, I'm making this work. Not only just for me, which it's the biggest desire, but like I want to like realize or make her realize that this is going to be worth it because like you're doing this just as much as I am. You're 100%. In this with me. You just said, okay, well, I guess we're not going to buy a house. I guess we're not going to get married. I guess I'm going to suffer through 4 hours of commuting every day just because you want to quit your job to do this.
Exactly.
And it's crazy that anyone would do that. But if you have someone like that, it's like, forget it. Yeah. That is fuel right there for you.
100%.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what we do all this for, right? I mean, that's what I do it for, is to build my family and to have a life outside of Speedwell. That's the goal. And for her to stick around through all that, and for Nina to stick around, that's unbelievable.
Of course. Oh, and I mean, even with me, there's moments of doubt with everything else. But were there moments where both of you were like Jordan, what, why are you doing this? Why, like, what, are you too far into it at this point?
No, well, she's very like, I'm not going to get involved in your business. Kinda, you know, and even though it directly affected her, I think, I don't know, I'm boisterous and I'm a control freak and all that. And, I think she just kind of let me have my space and didn't question it. There'd be times I had mental breakdowns, you know what I mean? And come home, especially at the Rose Alley days, and just, why am I doing this? And just lose my mind. Like, just, you know, I'd overindulge in a couple beers and just really get just, like, I'm quitting. And she'd, you know, talk me down and calm me down, and, or just, like I said, give me my space. Like, you want to flip out, go flip out. You know, everyone gets frustrated and has those breakdowns sometimes, but stuck with me through all of that. And it's crazy. And you know, that's, again, was already planning on probably marrying her like soon after we started dating, because you just know, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But that for sure is okay. Right. You're here for the whole ride.
Staying power. You passed the test. I ran you through the gauntlet and you passed. So unfair, but you did it.
You did it. Here's your gift.
Yep. You're stuck with me. Let me put on 40 pounds and let's get married.
You lost 10, like you said, there with keto, right?
I'm down almost 15 actually now.
15?
Yeah, 15 doing the keto thing.
And the run over here, you probably lost a few pounds too.
Oh, I lost something.
So when you first started working at the Speedwell, that was what year was that?
2013. So we opened up November 25th, 2013.
Okay. And what was it like now? I mean, you're killing it over there. It's one of the, I think one of our favorite restaurants here in town, if not ever.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Like how did you and your team build it from 7 years ago until now? Like what have been some things that you've kind of fucked up on or learned, and like what, because now, like I said, you're, I think, doing pretty well. I would
still make mistakes though.
I'm sure you still do. But.
Yeah. And, there's one that anytime someone asks me, like, if you could have did something different, or like, what was the first thing you fucked up? I always go back to the color of the walls. So we opened in the red so far that I don't even want to say the number out loud. And we just had to get open, and we were trying to get open in July. We got inspected, and the fire department last second decided that we needed sprinklers, and we didn't know that. And that was a $40,000 expense. We had to dig up the street, put in a bigger water pipe, and it was a big setback. So this is part why my initial buy-in was supposed to be around 20, ended up being closer to 30, was because of that expense. So that pushes us back, and we're just so in the red. We're bleeding from everywhere, and we haven't brought in $1. And we got contractors and lumber places we owe money, and we don't even have furniture in the restaurant yet. So we kind of threw it together and opened well before it was what we wanted it to be, well before. Understanding that people were their first impressions were gonna be tainted, but we just didn't have a choice. And I don't know if it was lack of sleep or just, I don't know what it was, but I decided, I was like, everyone's painting their walls red. I want to do something different. No. I painted it, I shit you not, and it looked a lot different on the swatch, but Walmart blue. I shit you not, Walmart.
It's like walking into IKEA.
Oh my God. And this is before, like, some of the shiplap was on the wall, like behind the bar there.
Sure, yeah.
But the other wall wasn't. That the other side with the windows, that was all just regular ass drywall. And I painted it this. I remember painting it, and my business partner, Rich, who was helping me do a lot of the work, looks at me and goes, "You sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you know, it'll look better once it dries and once we get." And he just kept asking me, "Do we do the whole thing blue?" And I'm like, I just lost it. I went, "You know what? If you want to do a different color, go get a different color and do it. But I'm the only one painting, so I'm gonna paint the walls blue." Totally not true. He was there painting every day with me. my stubbornness comes through, and we paint the walls fucking Walmart blue, and it looks okay at night. I used a little trick where you paint the ceiling a little pink. You don't paint it white, so it makes it kind of look dimmer and makes the room feel more cozy. So that worked out well, and that ceiling's still pink. You can't tell, but it's pink. The contrast off the walls, but
that's your art background coming in there, huh?
Yeah, a little bit of color theory there.
Yeah.
That did carry over. And actually, when I was in high school, I went to vocational school, something I kind of omitted, but I was in the painting and decorating shop. So a lot of that color theory and stuff has always been a part of my mind. But I went with this fucking blue, man. If you go to Speedwell now, that middle load-bearing beam that goes right down the middle of the whole restaurant, bright blue. Take a look at it. That's the color the walls were.
I guess I haven't even really noticed it.
Yeah. It's this big.
That was the same blue?
That's the same blue. So when we maybe 3 months, 4 months later, my business partner, Rich, I kept questioning my color choice, came back with his own 10 gallons of red paint and redid the walls. And then he put shiplap up on the dining room wall. And it just, after that, just felt so much more like a restaurant. It was like, thanks, Rich, I'm sorry. I couldn't even tell you what it felt like. It was like a waiting, I don't know. It was real odd, that color clashing. And that stupid little decision and that stubbornness of just wanting to get it over with and just paint the walls and hurry up, let's open. One of those rush decisions, I think hurt us real bad in the beginning.
You think so?
Yeah. It just looked like we were a money grab. And that's what we were when we first opened, because we were like, we just need to put money in the bank and stop paying these people. We didn't have, there was barely any booze on the back bar. The bar was gorgeous. We spent $13,000 on that bar top. It's all concrete, poured concrete, custom for us. That was our toy. That thing's sick.
Yeah,
that was the coolest. That was the only nice thing we had. we had bought a used POS system that was constantly fucking up. The kitchen probably changed every week where we put things and all that. The menu, I printed on a 8x11 and which is fine, if you're changing the menu every day and stuff like that. We weren't. We just didn't have menu holders. Like, we were just doing what we could. And our opening day was busy and it was fine. And, but people started talking like, the place sucks. Like, they are just opening and not doing anything special. And I hired all people from New Bedford because that's where I came from. So there's no connection with Plymouth.
How'd that feel though when you first heard that your restaurant you've been working on sucks?
It's panic. Absolute panic. And I felt rejected. I think, admittedly, and I'll tell anybody this, I thought I knew it all. The attitude I said earlier where I was like, oh, I got all the answers. We're just opening up another Rose Alley. Oh, I know everything. And I was wrong. Plymouth people, I greatly underestimated their understanding of food and beverage. Greatly misunderstood. And New World Tavern was across the street, crushing it. We were trying to open before them. Driftwood, same thing, crushing it. They were like Poor Farm. That I was looking at them like, fuck, I gotta compete with another Poor Farm. And just got humbled so fast. People saw right through us and they knew we were giving them some bullshit makeshift cookie cutter.
Mediocre Walmart looking.
Walmart. Yeah. It literally was Walmart of taverns. Yeah. It was watered down, fake, not sincere. It was my staff was great, and that was the one thing that I think helped pull us through was the customer service, and my staff started winning some people over. But it was up to, I think, me and my partners to sort of be like, we got to fix this now because this is no pun intended, a sinking ship. Yeah, and the Speedwell was a sinking ship.
Yeah, so that was I'm going to talk about that too. So that was the name of that. Mm-hmm. Right, that goes to the Speedwell ship. Right,
correct.
And that was, I always forget the story. Is that with the Mayflower when it came over?
Yeah.
Or is it the first one that came before the Mayflower?
No, it was supposed to come with the Mayflower. They left Dartmouth and then together, and then the Speedwell started taking on water. I always mix this up, and I'm gonna get called out. And that's okay.
We'll get shit for it, but it's okay.
Emily Clark from the newspaper gave me like the best sort of story version of the story so far. So I use hers, where basically the Speedwell and the Mayflower leave from Dartmouth. Speedwell starts taking on water. They have to turn back around and dock. Then they leave again, and they stop in Southampton, I want to say, England, and have to start over again because the Speedwell's taking on water. So they try a third time, and then they have to dock back in Plymouth, England, and decide to leave the Speedwell behind. And the Mayflower eventually just leaves from Plymouth and ends up here without the Speedwell. And the cool fact she told me was if the Speedwell made it on that second or first trip, Plymouth would have originally been called Southampton or Dartmouth because you named it where you left it from.
Yeah,
so if it wasn't for the Speedwell being so shitty, the Plymouth, Massachusetts, and this, if I'm getting this wrong, but this is the general idea I got from it, and I always thought it was so cool, it would be called Southampton, Mass. We'd be in Southampton right now. Yeah. Isn't that cool?
So just like your restaurant, it sucked in the beginning and then you kind of fixed it.
Right.
And now it's a
Sinking
badass
ship.
place to go.
And in theme of one tiny left or right turn changed a whole bunch of shit. Beer bottle, quitting that day at the Venus, and those people on those boats deciding to leave it in Plymouth, England.
Exactly.
It changed everything. Like one snap decision. Like, so yeah, we always liked the alternative history, you know, and when I got offered, when I was originally thought I was going to come up here and work, and they're like, yeah, you can name the restaurant, you can build it after your theme or whatever. And I was like, Speedwell. I did a bunch of research on AOL back in the day.
Dating yourself.
Yeah,
here,
Netscape maybe. And discovered the story of the Speedwell. And I was like, you know what? We're going to go with the Speedwell Tavern. And I had not known there was a Speedwell Coffee soon opening up. Great guy over there, from what I understand. We haven't hooked up yet. But
yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, that's what I hear. And I had his coffee, a lot of it.
And the In the Darkness Bind Them. You have that Mayflower beer? You ever have that?
I'm on this little thing called the diet where I can't have.
Oh, that's true. Well, let me describe it. It is good.
I'm not going to lie. I had it like a week before they released it. They let me try it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
I love you, Mayflower, and your beer is amazing, but I can't drink it right now.
We'll talk about lettuce and like boring keto
I can't even
food.
have some lettuce. It's so stupid.
I
This
hate
is what
the
happens
keto
when
diet.
you punish yourself with beer and chicken for 8 years at your disposal. You got to pay the piper.
And Speedwell has amazing chicken and beer, so it
Thanks,
must
man.
kill you every time you go in there. But
I would say let's not talk about that, but I kind of want to promote us too. And Mayflower, sorry. In the Darkness Binds.
And the Darkness Bind Them,
On
yeah.
tap at Speedwell right now.
Yeah. So we'll talk about Speedwell too. So, and I think it's such a cool thing you're doing now. Like you are so active on social media, and I'm assuming that kind of comes with the kind of promoting stuff you used to do. Like, I think you understand how to market yourself.
Thank you.
And if you look at most restaurants, which they all do a great job, but you are always on my newsfeed.
Hell yeah.
Now, your French fry Tuesdays, whatever day of the week that is, you got your nachos, you got your chicken wings, you got this thing and that thing, and like you're always doing stuff. Is that for you intentionally is that for your ongoing clients and patrons that are going there, or is this to kind of attract more business, or maybe a little bit of both?
Both.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that really motivates me now is since Speedwell's open, the amount of amazing restaurants that are down here.
Yeah.
People have choices like they've never had before. And I consider myself friends with pretty much everybody that owns a restaurant down here or works in a restaurant down here, anyone that I've met. But at the end of the day, they are competition. And I know people aren't going to go to Speedwell every single day, but if I can get them once a week, they're all good at promoting. They all make amazing food. They do a lot of things better than I do. There's a lot of things I can't do that a lot of the restaurants down here are doing, and it blows my mind and seeing what they do, and that motivates me. I'm like, you can't fall asleep, because the second I take my foot off that gas pedal and and stop thinking so much about the vibe at Speedwell, someone's gonna pass me.
Totally.
I'm gonna get blue shelled.
Totally.
And so my motivation isn't so much to take business away from my competition. It's to keep up with them. That's the way I look at it. Is they're not giving up. They're all working hard. They all understand it as well as I do. I know my clientele. We have an amazing just group of loyal regulars there. And I think that was built not so much by the marketing, but my hiring. I hired really good people. I had the ability to hire people that didn't necessarily have restaurant experience because we have such a simple menu, burgers and wings. And I look at it as simple. I mean, we put our flair on it. We try to do it our own way, but we hired on character, and we hired good people, and good people tend to know more good people. So we hired people like, for example, Matt Audette.
I love him. Yeah.
Everybody loves Matt. Who doesn't? He's a great guy, and I stole him from Pub 99. I don't care. I'll say that out loud. I stole him, and I did. I wanted him working there. He was at Speedwell all the time. He was a great kid. We had a similar sense of humor, and I poached him. And because he's a good guy, has a great network of people, and we hired a few people through him, and just people he knew started coming in, and it kind of instilled me into that network. And then I started realizing who I'm marketing to. I'm marketing to this group. if I get people, 35 and up, or if I get people 18 and younger, that's totally fine. But these are the people I want to cater to because they're like Matt. They're loyal. They'll support you. They'll promote for you. You build an army of regulars who know you're being honest and humble with them, and they'll treat you like family. And that's really what's happened to Speedwell.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And I can even just, again, not to talk bad about anybody else. They all do their own thing, but I feel like you especially, you have that down pat, that loyalty to not only, the people who work for you, but the people that are coming in there.
Right.
I mean, we just did this today. Ryan walked over there and said, "Hey, can you just do this video with me before the podcast?" Yeah, sure, I'll do it. You'll do food reviews with us, like just things that you and I and us have fun with. You're like, yeah, totally.
Yep.
And I think that mentality is just, it's really, you can't help but be a part of Speedwell Tavern because of how fun it is to be around there, and you're an awesome guy, and the people around you are awesome. I think probably from what you've learned from your past experiences with these tight-knit group of people working to build something great, and this is what you've started to do and are continuing
cool hearing
to do.
it out loud.
Yeah,
it's I never stop and smell the roses. And it's cool hearing that out loud, and even telling this whole story. I haven't even reflected because it's especially the last 2 years, like having my son and just the whirlwind of getting married 3 years ago, and like just I haven't stopped and realized, so that's really cool to look at it that way.
Yeah, and I know our last guest was Amanda Roy, who I'm sure you know too, and I think she also gets it, and I'm starting to get better at this too, at being able to self-reflect as to what you're doing. Because and I'm in the same mindset. I love working 60 hours a week. It's fun for me.
Yeah.
But it's almost like you really have to step back and realize, like, okay, what am I doing? Like, why am I doing this? And how can this affect not only the company, but my life in general? Absolutely. I was having a really hard time balancing personal life and work life because I brought it home with me, and I was working in my apartment first, and my fiance or girlfriend at the time would come home, and I was like, oh God, now I got to talk to her. I'm trying to finish up this video, and she wants to talk. I'm like, it just is not working. Now I feel like I'm a little more cognizant of building that part of my life and the business, and those two have to work together.
Balance
There's no
is
way,
key, man.
Yeah, and even the videos you post of your kid on Facebook are awesome.
Thanks, man.
And it's just
with him.
Yeah, well, and he's super cute, but
Thank you.
it's you kind of have to get to a point where you realize that the way that my lifestyle is right now is not conducive to what I want this to be.
Absolutely.
Like, yes, owning a company, doing what you did is extremely stressful. I would never want to open up a restaurant.
Come on, man.
Well, I say that like
I was going to convince you,
No,
Speedwell 2, let's go.
We're going to do the, Ryan wants to have a hawk's nest, or what's the thing you want? Hawk's,
that's badass.
Something to do with the hawk. Yeah. Hawk bar. That's it. He wants to have the hawk bar.
Why not?
Which might be isn't that a Star Wars thing? Isn't that a Star Wars planet? I think it is a Star Wars planet.
Oh my God, I'm not even going to come in. We're going to get torched by the...
We're going to get torched by the community here. But he wants to open up a hawk bar. Even in the office here, he wants to have a bar out back. But I feel like that for me, I would love to have like a cigar bar.
Yeah.
Like, not really like, a little bit of food, but like that is I love that style. Like really dark leather couches, cigar, like really moody and cool. I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I worked in restaurants, and I just...
You have?
Yeah, I used to work.
No kidding.
I worked at Waterfront.
Oh, no kidding.
And only restaurant I worked in. I've done like food prep. I used to work at it's Sunrise Assisted Living here on Warren Ave, and then I worked as a bar back food runner. And I'm like, holy shit, you guys work really hard. And I was used to it because I was working roofing, and I was doing that in a third job, so I was used to it. But you guys work your ass off to build a restaurant, and I realized that pretty quickly working in a restaurant. And that lifestyle, or I guess that field for me was something that like I like to work in for a bit, but I don't want to.
You got out.
I don't want to see how it's made. I want to just do it.
Smarter than me. You got out early.
Yeah, I got out way too early.
I don't own a shirt without a blue cheese or buffalo stain on it. You got nice clothes. You're keeping it clean. You got this beautiful. You did the right thing.
I know.
Left turn, right turn.
Exactly. Yeah. But even and I think with my company too is I also realize, and I'm trying to build a portfolio of work, but also build a lifestyle and a culture. Like you,
Right.
I think at Speedwell understand that. You understand who your people are who are going there. And similar with us, we're trying to really figure out who those people are.
I think you guys are moving fast too. I mean, you came in super quick. I remember meeting you at Second Wind. I might have met you quick before that, but I had my first like real conversation with you at Second Wind.
Yep.
You were dressed to the nines. You were about to go to the Old Colony Club.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, that's the Hawk Visuals guy. I'm like, I already knew like
Yep.
Hawk Visuals already. And then
Yep.
it was like after that day, it was just like you when you say you open up your social media in the morning, you guys are like the first thing I see.
Yeah.
So you're doing the right thing and you're marketing to the right people. And now all of a sudden, Plymouth's growing like crazy. And it's like every time somebody comes out with something promotional or something really sleek and cool, it's always, you could just tell it's Hawk Visuals that did it. I was saying there was a campaign video yesterday, today's election day. And there's a campaign video yesterday. I'm just like watching the video. I'm like, this is Hawk. Because it's just got that different. You guys know. It's good to see you guys sort of, one day you're doing a restaurant thing,
Yep.
then you're doing your own social presence. You guys almost have like a bar stool feel. I like that.
We're trying to get more like that.
Yeah. And it's down to earth and it's humble and it's silly and it's approachable. You guys are super approachable.
I appreciate that.
Someone like me who's coming into like, I don't even know who to go to. I want to make a cool video. I'll try to do it myself and it's shitty. Like, I don't want to call some company and like have some dickhead show up with 30 cameras. And I know now it's not like that because I met you guys. You guys are killing it.
No, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
It's fun. I think we bounce off each other a little bit on the social media thing. I think we're clogging up people's timelines, but that's the point.
But it's good. You're supposed to do that. Yeah, as long as it's good stuff. Like,
Right.
I mean, even the photos you take are still good. Like, you're not putting out bullshit that no one wants to see.
Because I learned early on when you do, people see right through it.
100%.
Sell yourself.
100%.
Right.
Even when we tell our clients, like the videos you're doing, the About Us videos, if you're talking to the camera and you're reading off a script, forget it.
Right.
You might as well just not do it.
Right.
They're going to see right through that. They don't want to be told things. If you're going to educate, but do it in an authentic way.
100%.
And that's what social media should be. People can see right through all that.
Bingo. We're in a don't trust anybody culture right now. And people and the overexposure to ads and sales and the deception of ads, people are super on their guard about that shit. They don't want to be oversold. They want to get to know, they want to support a human being. They don't want to support a product.
Yeah.
It's really what it comes down to. And, I learned that early on. It looks like you guys did too. And I think that's what's working so well for us on social media, both of us, is don't try to sell something you don't have. And if I think you guys, at the same sense too, you cater to your audience. If I have people coming in every day asking for a certain soup on the menu, and they're gonna keep coming, I'm gonna make that soup. Even if it's a pain in the ass, I'm gonna do it. Your hospitality is my industry.
Yeah.
Not
give the people what they want.
right. Hospitality. I think some places have lost the meaning of hospitality, where you can go home and eat, especially now, you can have your food brought to you from any restaurant. You don't have to go out to date. You can go on Tinder and swipe left or right. So you don't have to go out to meet people. Weed's legal. So what's the point? You could stay home and smoke weed all day. And then there's amazing places like Craft Beer Cellar where you can get instead of spending twice as much on a beer at my place, you can get a can over there and go home and do that. And all the things you used to do at a bar, you can now just do it from your seat at home. Why are they going to come to Speedwell? What's the point? And that's what you're going to make it more comfortable, if not as comfortable as the couch at home.
That's such a good point. Such a good point. Because everything is becoming easier. Everything is online. It's quick in and out. Why would I want to go sit down at Speedwell and eat chicken and beer when I could just go down the street, buy it quick, and then go DoorDash,
Bingo.
get that sent to me. I'll eat at my office and then just leave.
Right. Exactly.
So that's such a good point. Like the culture you're making and make it feel like you're at home, like make it feel comfortable. I mean, you got the mugs, you got the mug club kind of thing too, and all of that. And I think you're all killing it. And even, I guess with your artistic background, do you have artists that come in to display their work at all? Is that what you do also? That one wall on the back, right?
That's Kyle Powers. That mural is Kyle Powers.
Right.
And then the other wall that's sort of adjacent to that is just, I have a couple friends that have art. And then, people just ask me. And then there's I don't know the woman's name. I think it's an actress, but there's that beautiful one by Rob Green hanging up now. And why put up beer signs and people know what they're drinking. They don't want ads in their face. Put up local artwork. I mean, I do kind of say, I don't charge them to do it, but I'm like, hey, it's a bar. It might get damaged. Yeah. But if they want to hang up shit, people that are drinking at my bar every day want to hang up their artwork, absolutely. Don't carve it into my walls in the bathroom, please. Or if you want to, at least set up an appointment and make it classy. I've put that note out there before. People putting fuck Trump and shit on the walls. I'm like, listen, I might agree with you politically, but you don't need to carve it on my wall.
Yeah.
But but yeah, it's all about support. I guess it comes back to embrace your community and support your community. And once you figure out what naturally has become your clientele, don't look like the grass is greener and try to get more new people. Focus on them. Make them happy. Be loyal to them. And sure, there'll be some turnover and people will move and they'll get older and they'll have kids and families and you'll lose them. They won't be there 3 times a week anymore because they grew up. But they're going to tell people how awesome your place is and how well you treated them and how you didn't gouge them on prices and you put that beer on they wanted.
100%.
And just do that.
Well, they say 80% of your business comes from 20% of your clients. Isn't that a thing? And that's 100% true.
Firmly believe that.
I firmly believe it too. Yep. Take care of those customers that are always going to be there for you, and then they'll refer more people into you, and it's a never-ending cycle of just good people coming in there, which is great.
You force your idea on people, it's going to turn them away. It's like coming on too hard, And again, like I say, I'm not going to be the place that people want to go to every single day, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to try. Got to do it. Got to make it comfortable.
I totally get it. What are we'll end it in a second here, but what do you think? What are some new things that you're looking at doing in right now we're in 2020. We're in it for Plymouth, obviously. Are there things that you're looking at kind of diverging a bit and maybe Speedwell, but doing things a little bit differently? Or are you kind of on a point now where you're like, this is our sweet spot. We're going to rock this for a while. We kind of know the formula. Are there any little secrets you want to?
No. I'll tell you this right now. There's never a sweet spot.
Yeah.
There's never a sweet spot. The second you think you're in your sweet spot, you're complacent. You've already fell asleep. Speedwell is always going to evolve. It's evolved so much from a year ago. I've been planning Hops and Hots Fest, which you filmed last year.
Oh, I love that.
Try to get you back this year.
I'll film anything you want. Literally, the arm wrestling. Literally, I'll film anything for you.
So we'll do that. That's our annual charity event for the Muscular Dystrophy Association. We hook up with the local fire department and do a very, 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 very hot wing contest. Us, Mayflower, Second Wind, Vitamin C Brewing out of Weymouth. So that's coming up at the end of March. That's always exciting. Not doing too much different with that. Just we go to double over capacity and raise a bunch of money for muscular dystrophy, and we don't want to change it.
Yep.
If there was something I wish I could change, it was the amount of space in the restaurant.
Yeah.
That'd be nice, but kitchen's so small. There is a sweet spot, I guess, physically for the restaurant. There could probably be some modifications to make that work, but more so than not, when a restaurant gets past that 5-year mark, shit stops breaking. Things stop working as well. So we're starting to put money just back into the usual stuff. We're working on getting a new air conditioner, or at least adding air conditioning because we've had trouble with that in the past. We're redoing the floors in a couple weeks. New tables, new tabletops, just little things like that to just make sure that the people are comfortable, I guess, at the end of the day, and that they feel like, we're investing. We could just take that money and go, I could buy an air conditioner for my house. I could, but no, it's not for me. We want people to keep coming back.
Totally.
We want them sweating their asses off unless they're doing the wing competition.
Yeah, then we'll definitely sweat your ass off.
Right.
Yeah,
but sure. I guess that's it. I guess for excitement, we have no plans on expansion at the moment. If the right opportunity came along, it probably wouldn't be in Plymouth. I think Plymouth is pretty much maxed out right now.
100%.
And that's a sweet spot. I think the amount of restaurants we have right now, we're on it. We're teetering, and it's 2020, and all this stuff's going to go down this year, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to celebrate when the Pilgrims landed at Fraggle Rock, and that's badass. But what about 2021? You know what I mean? And that's what we're starting to think about is longevity and not becoming a white elephant after this. And I think a lot of restaurants are really smarter ones are thinking that way too.
Totally.
So I guess that's really it. Staying alive, staying afloat, listening to all you guys, and just adjusting as it comes. Take it as it lies. Float down the river, baby.
Float down the
river,
wherever
the current takes you.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I think we all here love you. I mean, we go there pretty frequently. Speedwell Tavern.
Ditto, brother.
and yeah, like you guys are killing it. Love your story, and I think just genuinely, even though I'm here in front of you, I think you have this culture at Speedwell that I think no one else has. You can tell you care about what you do. it comes across in the food, the wings, the culture, the beer, everything there. I think just you have that sweet spot, and genuinely, we love Speedwell Tavern.
Thank you very much.
Anybody who's in Plymouth or even not in Plymouth, go to Speedwell Tavern.
I appreciate that.
You're there. Are you there for the most part during the weeks, or?
I've been so going back to that balance thing. I've been taking pretty much every Wednesday off and most Thursdays off, so I could be home with my son. And nights, I'm barely there now, which is awesome. I have the best fucking crew in the business, front to back, kitchen, front of the house staff. I have an amazing bar manager, an amazing kitchen manager, and they leave me the fuck alone. They get the job done, so I get to spend time with my fam.
Fantastic.
And, I'm there about 50 hours a week now, but if you want to catch me, Mondays, Fridays, and if you want to catch me slay in the kitchen, Sunday days with my brother Rye, we fucking
clear the boards.
Clear the board, come in for a chest bump around 2:30. And
I love watching those.
Yeah, we'll get you in on one of those.
I gotta gain some more weight, I feel like.
What are you trying to say, bro? Come on.
We did lose 15 pounds, you're right. Yeah. If people do want to find out more, I mean, it's right here in Plymouth, but where can they find out more about the restaurant? Your social media, you have?
Social media, yeah. So the most activity you're going to find, the most up-to-date stuff is Facebook, backslash, what am I, Bobby Flay? Speedwell Tavern, Instagram at Speedwell Tavern. You can email me, Jordan Chabot28 at Speedwell Tavern if you're looking to information or stuff like that. And the restaurant's on 47 Main Street in Plymouth. Been there for 7 years now, and hope to be there for at least 7 more. So this is my retirement plan. I have not too many restaurants that have been open 50 years, but I don't have a choice. I got to keep this one open that long. So.
Well, I hope when we're 50, we'll still see you, kind of chugging along on your walker.
Yeah, I don't know about the chest bump, but
no, you might not make it out of that chest
just
bump.
Shatter like fucking glass.
Yeah.
Dude.
And this is how Jordan died. Yeah.
It'd be appropriate.
Yeah, it'd be pretty appropriate. Yeah. Jordan, I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me, man. This has been wicked fun.
No problem.
I feel like I talked so much.